TIFU by sexting with my second cousin. Throw away. Cause I wanna throw myself away. This happened over a few months. And I only found out he was my second cousin because he died. Okay. So, I met this guy on Grindr. Had a good chat. And really had a good vibe. And moved over to Telegram. As horny gay dudes do. We traded pictures. Chatted a bit on the phone. Etc. Last month, I checked Telegram. And our chat is gone. Guess I was blocked. Same day. I found out. My second cousin, who turned out to have the same name, died at night. Okay. Spooky. But nothing solid. So, I asked my family about him. More things. Same interests. Same area of growing up. Same age. Now, this is getting bad. I did not like this. No proof it is him still though. Last week, the funeral. My father was close to him when they were young, as he grew up with him as his father. My grandfather was close with him brother, but they have not chatted for years. X200B. So, I was asked to go since he was family. It is him. TLDR sexted with a dude for a few months. Turns out he was my second cousin. Found out because he died. I found out about the death the same day he disappeared. I have no idea why I was blocked. Maybe he wanted to ghost. Or someone else did it. Capital I. Just assumed ghosted until the funeral. When I saw it was actually him last week. Also, for those wondering, I was told it was a heart attack when he was sleeping. But I was not told any more than that. Shoulder learned your lesson when you sexted with your first cousin. You made your second cousin to not feel lonely until his death. Think of it this way. Nothing happened. You unknowingly made him yourself feel happy, horny and have good memory. Today I learned the last minute. All is good and I do not see anything wrong or morally bad since it is not. I mean, second cousin is at least legal. Be very happy it was not your first cousin. I mean, is it sad and still pretty darked up? Yes. Is it the end of the world? Number, just do not beat yourself up too much because you did not know. And you do not have to talk about it ever again if you do not want to. Yeah. At least it is legal. Just feels wrong to my personal moral compass. Will probably something I bury away. And definitively try to not think of again. If you knew he was your cousin and still pursued him, then maybe you would have something to be upset about. You and he were just random people getting to know each other. Seriously, I would not give it another moment of shame. I agree with this. Intentions make a huge difference when it comes to the actions that someone makes. There is such a big difference between dating a relative knowingly and meeting someone who turns out to be. I work with someone I didn't know was my cousin once. She hit on me all the time, but she was not really my type. She eventually had pretty much broken me down with persistence though. So I went on her Facebook to investigate a bit. Good thing I did too. Only took a few posts to see an aunt I had not seen in many years. The girl was a gymnast dancer. So I figured there was a chance it was her coach. I brought it up kinda sneaky something like, "So who is this? Your coach? They look super familiar." "Oh. No, that is my mom." "Me, well, this is super awkward. But I think you are my cousin." LOL, super awkward. But we came to find it kind of funny with time. Bullet dodged. Thank God I dove her FB a little. Moral of the story though, is shit like this happens. It does not make you weird or a bad person. Just unlucky. Do not let it make you feel bad about yourself. It has nothing to do with who you are. Sorry for the loss, man. I did the same thing by going out on a random date with a girl I met on Instagram. And then after talking about our sexual kinks and some dirty talk, we were so horny. And she wanted to my home. We talked about our families. And I found out that my grandfather and her grandfather were brothers. The rest of the date was awkward as duck. Sorry for your losses. For any lasting trauma in terms of your feelings regarding the sexual content, really do not sweat it. You did not know. And as long as it is consensual. The main real reason to avoid sleeping with biologically similar people is to avoid genetic defects when reproducing. And generally your pheromones will alert you if someone is not biologically favorable for you to reproduce with. So you do not end up being physically attracted to them anyway because they do not smell good to you. Unfortunately, this sometimes develops after an initial physical interaction as your body as response. So that does not necessarily mean your family members would not smell fine to you otherwise. It is all mental. So I think you are in the clear on this one. Pheromones is a scent and want to alert you. It can help with attractiveness. However, many cues come into play when it comes to love. So we can boil it down to simply pheromones attractiveness. Plus, this generally applies to women, as women are more sensitive to pheromones. Sorry for your loss. That is a rough way to find out. I guess it could be seen as a blessing in a way, as otherwise you may never have found out why he stopped contact with you. This is probably insensitive. But what is wrong with two gay cousins getting it on? How is it any different to two strangers? I thought the taboo with cousins was because if they have kids, they could be inbred, probably not an issue with gay guys. So if you get a vasectomy you can bang all your cousins. Makes sense. Vasectomies are not 100% effective, so not the same thing. However, if say you are 100% sure there can be no offspring, hysterectomy for example, then what is wrong with two cousins having a romantic relationship? Like a lot of things, details matter. If the DR only severs the vas deferens, there is a chance the swimmers can escape one end of the tube and find the other. Also, the tubes can find their way back together and heal. This can be mitigated by clipping a section out so the ends effectively don't reach. DRS also can suture the vas deferens closed, install clamps to keep them shut, or cauterize the ends. If you get lucky, you have a DR that will do all of those things. If you get even luckier, you will have the opportunity to make your wife so roll their eyes super hard. As the DR was explaining these options to me, he got to the end and said, "Because I am anal and don't want an accident, I do all of these things." So I responded with, "But DR, that is the wrong place. I swear my wife's eyes about rolled out of her head. I still laugh about it." Here is the question no one wants to ask. Was he still in the closet? Or did another of his close family see his adventure, recognize you and decided to delete things to keep it buried? Or are they hiding the fact he was into men? Like, okay, maybe this is controversial, but like, isn't the whole issue and stigma with incest due to with unequal power dynamics, potential for abuse, and increased chances of birth defects? Like, you're at S-word because we grew up being told at S-word. But is this actually something you should feel shamed about? You met a dude on equal footing and had a good time. I am having a hard time rationalizing what was actually bad about your interaction. Like, it sounds mortifying, but like, logically, what bad actually happened or could have happened aside from your family freaking out, of course? If he is distant enough that you do not even know you are related, then for all intents and purposes, you're not related. Everyone is related if you go back far enough. You need to draw the line somewhere. And in my opinion that line lies somewhere around, do I actually know this person as a family member? All weirdness aside, or better yet, mixed in, be sure to honor what grief you feel. At the end of the day, you got to be really close to a family member before their untimely passing. I hope you can get some therapeutic help for any real shame you may feel you had no way of possibly knowing. You may have provided him with something he really needed those last months. I am sorry you lost someone you'd grown close to. Well, as the saying goes, there is only one way for two people to keep a secret. So I think you are good. You can tell he was well loved, because he had somebody close enough to him to go through and purge any embarrassing digital footprints after he died. Sorry for your loss, but you really should not worry about dating your second cousin. It is not like he was a part of your family while growing up, and it is not a very close relation. The only thing you had in common with him was two of your 8 great-grandparents that you probably never met. Don't worry about it. I once had sex with my second cousin. Didn't he realize before he got arrested for smuggling huge amounts of drugs and got 13 years in prison? We talked about it, and my mom asked if I knew him. We're from a small city, and when I said yes, she told me he is a second cousin, a part of the family we never had close contact with. So do you think someone in his family knows they were sexting, and out of shock they blocked OP? Because when people pass away, family will usually go through the deceased belongings. And also phones. There could potentially be a family member out there who knows this dirty little secret. Disclaimer: I am not from Alabama and I married someone of a completely different culture part of the world. You can sext your second cousin if you met on Grindr. For heterosexual couples there is a slight increase in risk for offspring. You don't have that problem. For closer family relationships there is a risk of grooming manipulation. You had no idea who this guy was. I absolve you of all icky. That sucks. Sorry about your cousin. I saw you mention morality in a comment, and while not really acceptable legal in certain societies today, there is really no reason to consider incest between two consenting adults wrong unless you are reproducing with certain matchups. The feeling of wrongness ickiness is a result of social societal conditioning. I am only saying this in hopes it makes you feel less bad about the situation. I got caught making out with my second cousin in the parking lot at a wedding when I was in high school. We knew we were cousins, but had never met before. Never bothered me. Still doesn't tea. I would have banged her if I had the chance. No hesitation. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.